Hey folks, CA Rachana Ranade here and I welcome you all to yet another shoot and release video. And today's discussion is really important because we are going to talk about the next big trigger. Well, it's not about a trigger that will impact like next week's trade or next month's trade. We are going to talk about this trigger from a comparatively longer term perspective. So what are we going to focus on? We are going to focus on 3 points today. First, let me share my screen so that you will also get a better idea on what we are going to discuss today. 3 triggers, which are the 3 triggers that we are going to focus on. Number 1, big trigger for India's GDP growth. What is going to be that? Second, we are going to talk about why is consumption so important. And third, what could be our consumption tracker. So with the second and third point, I'm sure you have already understood that it's about consumption, which is the big trigger for India's GDP growth. But why am I saying that? I'm sure everyone by now knows for a fact that India has moved up from 5th largest economy in the world to 4th largest economy in the world. And now it is expected that we will become the 3rd largest economy in the world by 2028. But if we were to go to that position, what can be the key trigger for us to move up? So if I were to go to proper economics, GDP is calculated in this way: C plus I plus G plus X minus M. You'll be like, oh my god, what is this? But C is consumption, that is important. One more important trigger that we are going to talk about today is X minus X. X is basically exports, M is imports. Okay, so we are going to talk about that as well. Why is consumption really important? Please understand one more time. When I'm saying that India has moved from 5th to 4th position, from 4th to 3rd, it is expected to grow. It is 3rd largest based on what? Based on GDP, correct? And if GDP were to grow, ideally I'm saying this is the most important trigger, which is consumption. And why am I saying that? Now, if we were to understand our composition of GDP, which is C, I, G and X minus M, that is the composition of GDP. Out of that, C contributes to 71.7%. And if you check from 2015 to 2024, that has been an important parameter in our GDP. And currently, as I mentioned, from 70.46%, it has climbed up to 71.7%. And if you see, since 2021, it has been at the highest point. So now you will tell me, if GDP were to grow, consumption ideally has to grow. Then can government say that from tomorrow, please start consuming more? Government can't say that. Government will have to take certain steps, will have to implement certain measures because of which the consumption will boost up in India. Okay. So what is measure number 1 that PM Modi announced on 15th of August, just few days ago? He said that we are going to simplify GST. Currently, if you know, there are a lot of GST slabs, and he said we'll now move down to only 2 slabs, one 5% and one 18%. He has also said that we'll also introduce one more GST slab, which will be 40%, and that will typically be for sin goods and luxury goods. Sin goods, something like consumption of alcohol, tobacco. Luxury goods could be something like very luxury cars or something like that, correct? But apart from that 40% slab, we will be focusing only on 2 slabs now, or we'll be boiling down to only 2 slabs right now, which is 5% and 18%. Now, please understand, if GST is simplified, will that impact positively for consumption or negatively? Obviously positive impact. Now, if I were to tell you sector wise, FMCG, it is expected that GST may go down from 12% to 5%. If that be so, all these Britannia, Nestle, Lala, they can get positively impacted. If you are talking about consumer durable, something like TV, fridges, washing machine, it's expected that GST rate will come down from 28% to 18%. In fact, it is also expected that autos, majority of the autos fall in the 28% category right now. That could also come from 28% to 18%. And if that be so, the demand for autos could also go up. So all these are positive sectoral impacts that I'm talking about. And the most important one that I've been waiting for quite a long time is insurance. Because currently insurance GST is around 18%, in the 18% slab. And we are really waiting to see it go as a GST exemption. If GST is boiled down to 0% for insurance, I'm sure it will have a positive impact on the overall insurance penetration in India as well. Now you only tell me, if GST reduces from 12% to 5% in case of FMCG, from 28% to 18% in case of white goods, from 28% to 18% in case of autos, from 18% to 0% for insurance, will that reduce the prices? And answer is obviously yes. So coming back to this point, if the prices are reduced, could there be a boost in consumption? Answer is again yes. Okay. So what is the first and foremost point? What are we saying? Is consumption important? Yes, forms 70% of GDP. And to boost consumption, what has PM Modi said? We are going to simplify GST. We are going to bring down the rates as far as possible so that it will give a consumption boost. But just because PM Modi said, is it going to happen right from tomorrow? Answer is no. It has to be subjected to a GST council approval. And if the council approves it, it will be implemented around October 2025. So 1 or 2 more months to go for this. Okay. So first point, what have they done? They have simplified GST is what I can say. Okay, they have proposed to simplify GST. Number 1. What is point number 2? You already know about this. No tax up to 12 lakhs rupees of annual income. So if you are a salaried individual, if your salary is up to 12 lakhs, zero tax on that. If you are also talking of, or if you are also considering standard deduction of 75,000, the aggregate limit comes up to 12 lakh 75,000 rupees. So you can imagine, both husband and wife, both whose salary is below 12 lakhs, okay, it is like almost 25 lakhs plus income coming at home with zero tax. It's a big point. Now what will happen because of this? More disposable income is equal to more demand is equal to ideally more consumption. And is that going to ideally impact GDP? Yes, in a positive way. So I hope this point is also clear. What is the government doing to boost consumption? Number 3 is also very important, and I'm sure again you all know about it if you are following my channel. So I hope you have already subscribed to my channel, hit the bell icon. If you have not, pause the video, do that and then watch the balance part of the video. But those who have been following, you already know about the RBI rate cut cycle and inflation in India. Understand, typically if inflation is at a lower side, the RBI governor has a lot of scope to reduce interest rates. Currently, as per latest data, headline CPI inflation has plunged to 1.55% in July, and our band for inflation is 2% to 6%. We are even below the band. So are we at an absolutely comfortable position as far as inflation is concerned? Yes. Now, of course, if you have seen my yesterday's live stream, you will be aware that today there is a Jackson Hole symposium where Fed Chairman Jerome Powell will also talk about their stance on whether US is keen on reducing interest rates or not. If he says that yes, we are keen on reducing interest rates, it's a direct green signal for us also that there is a great chance we will also reduce interest rates in the coming monetary policy meeting. Okay. So to wrap up, is consumption an important trigger for us to increase GDP? Yes. What are the 3 things that government is doing? Number 1, I talked about GST. Number 2, I talked about the income tax limits. Number 3, I talked about interest rate cycle. Okay, RBI stance basically. If you feel there are few more points, please let me know those points in the comment section. But before I move on to one more very important point, so we are talking about importance of consumption, right? We are going to talk about that. But before I talk about importance of consumption, there is importance of upskilling yourself as well. And Har Ghar Investor is coming to Ahmednagar, now known as Ahilyanagar, on the 14th of September, 11:30 am. It's a 2-hour session. For those who have already attended this session, you know that you will get to learn a lot. We'll answer some basic questions like whether stocks or mutual funds, which is the right choice for you. I'm going to talk about my Nifty target. We are going to talk about a lot of personal finance related questions as well. And super important, we are going to have a separate segment for AI in finance, use of AI in finance in investing. Only one thing, it's a session which is fully in Marathi. So shout out to all my Marathi audiences. Quickly book the tickets. They have already started filling up. The link is there in the pinned comment and in the description box below. Alright, so with that, coming back to the importance of consumption story, we did talk about consumption rising and GDP rising. Second point, tariff impact. Everyone knows what Trump is doing right now. He has proposed a 50% tariff on India. If it is not eased out, what will happen? Could there be an impact on the X minus M, that is exports minus import, because exports could drop if we are at as high as 50%. Question is, what will happen to all those goods which are produced in India? There has to be some market. Possibility 1, can we export to other countries? Obviously yes. Correct. Possibility number 2, what if we can consume it in India itself? I'm not saying that 100% will be consumed in India, but a part of that at least, if consumed in India, could that bring in some relief for the manufacturers? Absolutely yes. Okay, so that is one more very important point, importance of consumption. And third important consumption point is about the overall capex story. Now, for those who are not really aware about what I'm talking about, a very interesting article that I checked out on Money Control. What we saw was that overall private sector spending on what capex has been sluggish. Our capacity utilization, if you see from roughly 2014-15, it has stayed around 70% plus 75% mark. Of course, a drop during COVID, but again, even today, it is around 75%. Now, is capex really being done by private sector or not? So, for that, it is very clearly mentioned, while private capex remains subdued, public capital expenditure has surged. So, what we can see is that government is spending a lot on capex, but private sector is not spending a lot on capex. So, if I were to check the proportion, you can see here from 2014 to 2024, the government's share in capex has gone up from 44% to 65%, and the share of private capex has gone down from 56% to 35%. Now, as per this article, they mention what is holding back private capex, why the private sector is not really doing a lot of capital expenditure, and this is the first point that they are pointing to: muted domestic demand. If the overall urban and consumption, rural consumption, they are saying both have softened, and with this overall weakness in the demand, that is the reason why they are not spending a lot on capex. Now, you only tell me, if this is an identified pain point that demand is sluggish, demand is less, can government boost consumption? Now look at the logical story. If consumption is boosted, demand is more. Demand is more is equal to, ideally, manufacturers would want to produce more. But if they are currently at 75% capex or at the 75% capacity utilization, what will they want to do? They will want to increase the capacity. Increase in capacity is equal to more production, is equal to more employment opportunities. More employment is equal to more income in the hands of people. More income will again lead to more demand, will lead to more consumption. It's a flywheel. More capex typically leads to more consumption, and that is the reason why consumption is also extremely important if we want to push the private sector capex. But how can you as retail individual investors, or how I as a retail individual investor, how can I really check whether consumption is increasing or not? Could there be a tracker for that? So I have directly told you 5 points that you can check as a consumption tracker. Number 1, check GST collections. Always remember, higher the GST collection, ideally somewhere there is a boost to the overall spending of people, boost to consumption, number 1. Number 2, UPI volumes can also be an important tracker. More and more UPI transactions is equal to, see, UPI, people like you and me, we these days carry mobiles only rather than carrying wallets. So, more and more UPI volumes, more and more people are spending, consumption theme again. Two-wheeler demand, entry cars sales, these are proxy for mass demand. So, two-wheeler demand, if you know, when Modi ji announced about the GST simplification norms, immediate next day when the market opened, Hero MotoCorp was up, if I'm not mistaken, by 10-11%. Maruti Suzuki was up by almost 10-11%. That's a clear example which can be seen here. FMCG rural volume growth can also be checked. That is also an important tracker. And of course, credit growth in retail and credit card spends, that also acts as a good consumption tracker. So all in all, I hope in today's entire discussion you have understood as to why this entire consumption theme is really important for us. Just to sum up the whole story, we did talk about why consumption is important. That forms 70% of GDP. For that, 3 measures that the government is taking. Then we also talked about the importance of consumption. We talked about it from 3 angles. And ultimately, we said that if we were to track the consumption story, how do we do that? For that, I talked about 5 points. All in all, I hope you found value in today's video. Again, as I mentioned, it's a shoot and release, one take, almost 14-15 minutes video. So just in case if I fumbled upon something, don't forget to check out the pinned comment and the description box. I hope you found a lot of value. Don't forget to check out the Har Ghar Investor event as well in the pinned comment and description box. What else? Smash the like button, share this video with your friends. I'll see you in the next one. Till then, take care. Jai Hind and bye-bye.